Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Brutal Truth About Sales and Selling podcast. Today, the top 3 critical mistakes I see salespeople making today. What do we all want to do? We all want to get new meetings and new accounts. And this is critical to grow our territory. That's why they hire us. Anybody can take an order. Almost anybody can make an order happen a little bit faster, a little bit bigger. It's the people who can really get into new accounts that are cold. They don't know you. They don't know the product, the company, the problem you solve. They're totally green, totally cold. And what are we taught? All the books out there, it's not that they were wrong, that they were right at the time, or maybe 5 years before they were written. But the problem is that things have changed so fast in the last 5 years that we are not adapting fast enough. And Nudge.ai, they did a series on how I make buying decisions. And yes, they interviewed very high-level people, but these are the people who approve a lot of the budget, a lot of the funds, a lot of the decisions that are getting made by the people underneath them. And they all had a very similar sentiment throughout all of them, that they've all kind of come up with guards, gates, not gatekeepers in the old sense. Every time someone says gatekeeper, I'm like, what year is it? Who has an admin anymore? Maybe some people still do, but usually there's people that, help people out, but nobody has like the person outside the desk, let me take your phone call for you. Come on, Mad Men was in the 60s. That doesn't exist today. Everybody manages their own phone, their own email, except for the very highest levels. And I think we're making these mistakes because what we're doing is we're reading those books, we're reading those blogs, we're listening to those podcasts and YouTube channels about how it worked 5 or 10 years ago. And what they keep saying is, oh, your pitch isn't strong enough. Your pitch isn't personalized enough. Your pitch isn't often enough. And what happens now today is everyone's copying it and then trying to automate it, which multiplies the problem and puts us in a very precarious situation. And this is really a problem that I want to help solve. I work with Nudge on this, and you got to go check out their blog, because what you'll start to see is, oh God, I'm doing all the wrong things. And they're calling it out. They know, because they're getting, most of them are saying 20 to 30 of these requests a day. So you're not getting anybody. And I get them too. My phone goes off. If I don't know who it is, I'm not picking up because I know it's a salesperson. And somehow they got my phone number off of my LinkedIn profile or wherever. I don't give it out that proactively to anybody, but yes, I put it out for like podcast listeners and people who want to be on the show. I prefer email. I prefer LinkedIn. That's okay. But the thing is, I don't want to hear a pitch. And I'm sure if you're on LinkedIn, they send a connection request, and then you get this 3 to 5 paragraph description of what they are, how great they are, and what they want you to do. And you have no interest, you don't like them, you don't trust them, and you have most likely don't even have a need, even if you were interested. So where does this leave us? Okay, what do? You go and you search. And trust me, I went to these conferences and I heard the best of the best. And they were talking about the same thing that I was taught 20 years ago. And back then it worked. I mean, the phone rocked in the 90s. Email rocked in the O's. And social rocked in the last 5 years if you knew how to do it. But today, there's no clear way. And I'm sorry, there isn't, because everyone's being bombarded with all these new great capabilities that they do work. It's not that they don't work. It's not that they're not great. It's not that if somebody actually listened to you that they would not get the result that you're promising. The problem is people are too overwhelmed. Overwhelmed with horseshit. Not that they're too busy. I keep hearing this, oh, everyone's crazy, crazy busy. No. People are not crazy, crazy busy. I visit companies all the time. People just hanging around chatting. They're not crazy, crazy busy. They're crazy, crazy overwhelmed with stuff they don't make sense out of. And what we have to do is take a step back. And what I got out of this is, first, look at what you're doing. Okay, are you going straight to the final decision maker instead of building up the need first? Now, that person is probably bombarded. Now, wouldn't you be better off surrounding them with, the people under them, the people aside of them, maybe even the people above them, depending on your product? Now, if you took this blog approach that Nudge did by interviewing people who would buy your stuff, and maybe you can do it, go talk to your customers, people people who you have already, it's a great time too. It's the holidays. You got the built-in icebreaker. Just say, hey, I'm not calling to sell you anything. I'm calling to learn from you. And maybe this is a Q1 thing, but it'll help you with the deals that you have the rest of the year. Because actually, now is not the time to be prospecting if you're in the B2B sales space. You've got literally 4 to 5 weeks to close out your year. And what I want to do from this is tell you how they're going to buy, and so that you're prepared for Q1. And what I'm going to do for Q and the rest of the year is help you negotiate your territory, your comp plan, and how are you going to set up 2018 to be the monster year that you want it to be. And I've got some great stuff for you. I'm working on this course called Start the Conversation, Get the Meeting. And what I did is I changed it from Get the Meeting because that's what everybody wants. But the point is you have to start a conversation. Now, this could be an email conversation, could be a social conversation, could be a phone conversation. It can even be an in-person conversation. But I guess that's a meeting. It depends on what you call it. But what you have to do is get a dialogue, a two-way discussion about the problem, not the solution. Because until you have the problem identified and acknowledged that it's something that should be addressed, it doesn't matter what the solution is. If you're not losing your hair, you don't care about hair replacement. If you're happy in the house you have, there's no need to look for another house. If your car's running fine and you love it, likelihood of getting another one or a different one is a lot less. Now, if it broke down and it needs $3,000 worth of repair, you're a little open-minded. Okay, so let's dig into this now. Okay, first of all, the bombardment. What are people teaching today? 7 to 15 touches. Now, you know what a touch is. A touch is a cold call, a hounding, a reminder, hey, did you read my last email that you ignored? No, they didn't. Or if they did, they didn't care. No one wants to be hounded. People want help. Everybody loves to buy, but what was consistent in this report is no one wants to be sold to, meaning they don't want the pitch because they can't comprehend the pitch as fast as it used to be. Because when you get one a week, is very different than when you get 100 a week. And what happens is people just stop listening. Now, look, think about your TV where you have 500 channels. I bet there's only 5 that you really watch on a consistent basis. Or if you're like me, maybe 3 or 4. And there's maybe 5 shows, but you're just not, you can't consume that much of content, nor can you consume all the myriad of solutions out there to particular problems. And everyone's hiring more and more junior salespeople to pound the internet and the phone lines with worthless pitches that nobody wants to hear. And quit buying the books. I'm sorry, sales authors, because I see the same stuff, and every salesperson pumps them. Oh, come up with a great sales story. Come up with an elevator pitch. Come up with the key people in your industry. The magic email with the call to action that references your CEO. And what all these blogs said is that stuff is we don't care. We don't care what the leaders are doing in our industry. We're doing something different. We don't care about your CEO. We care about our CEO. You say we saved 30%, 50%, 300%. People don't believe it. Why? Because they don't know you. They don't like you. So they don't trust you. Now, in my course, I'm going to show you how to build this up, how to take it from cold to warm to hot, and do it in a humanistic way that is effective, scalable, and efficient. And I know what you're going to say. You go, Brian, I don't have time for that. I don't have time. Okay, some of it you can automate. Some of it you can outsource for like $5 to $6 an hour. It's insane what we can do today when we're creative, because it really comes down to technique, technology, and timing. Now, technique, everyone's doing the old-fashioned technique. It's not working. Now they automate it with technology, and it doesn't work even more, so they do more of it. And that what they forget is timing. Most sales have to do with timing. Unfortunately, it's true. Like here we are, where right before Thanksgiving, at the end of 2017, there's a certain timing event right here that everyone's kind of experiencing, certainly in the U.S. We've got Thanksgiving coming up. We've got the holidays at the end of December. And then we're going to have the morass of planning in January. So what we have to do is think ahead. Understand exactly what happened last year at this time. You think we're halfway through Q4. We're 3/4 of the way through Q4. I'm sorry, didn't mean to wake you up. We're 3/4 of the way through Q4. You better get on it. Okay, so I want all of you to do is look for this course in January, because it's really going to show you how to use technique, find the right technique, find the right technologies to automate this and then find the right timing. And that's why I love Nudge.ai. They give you the timing. Okay, the timing can automate its technology. But what everybody's missing is the technique. Everybody wants to think that all they need to do is meet you. It's called what I call the Pam Anderson test. Now, this is dating me. Back in the 90s, all the guys said, if I could just meet Pam Anderson for a cocktail, I'd convince her that I'm great. The problem is, no. That would work for 1 out of 10,000 people. The issue is that's the wrong person, okay? And the wrong you just think your technique is going to do that. And, it's the lottery. Yes, 1 out of 100 million is going to win. So you better play. Okay, but that's not a good retirement strategy. So what do I want you to do? Okay, what I want you to do is take a step back, and instead of going direct to the person that's making that final decision, because clearly they're not interested and they know what you're doing. Okay, the magic trick has been shown. They know the rabbit is up the sleeve and they know it's not appearing. Okay, so what we have to do is kind of surround them. Now, when I say surround them, I mean, who do they care about? You got to become like a detective about who in your market, what do they care about? What drives them? What emotions do they feel? How are they judged? How do they want to be approached? What would they see as value? What can you give them? And even in one of these blog posts, people were like, well, don't offer me dinner and tickets to a game or sending me a gift. Because if you're going to do that, if you have that kind of money, lower the price of the product. Now, look, those things still work. They do, at the right time, in the right technique. Now, certain people in this person said, I've got a personal life. I don't want to spend it with sales reps. I want to spend it with my family. Okay, that's part of knowing them. But there are a lot of people who do. So it's all about figuring out what they like. And today we have the technology to do this, but we're too busy stuck in what worked 5 years ago. And trust me, I change my technique literally every 3 to 6 months. And typically it's slowing it down. It's doing a lot of more of little things. I'm very focused around it to get to the people that I want to get to. And referencing people that they know, their customers, okay? They love to hear about their customers. Anything I can do for their customers and help their customers, they love me. So, and you can say, well, I don't have a podcast, Brian. I don't have this amount of experience. But you can do little things, little tiny things that aren't pitches. Because I'm telling you, the effectiveness, and I talk to people all the time, well, we're looking to get 1 to 3%. I go, is that really going to be the lifestyle that you want, that you're only going to be effective 1 to 3% of the time? And what happens is next year, people are going to double that, meaning they're not going to get 6 to 8% improvement. They're going to double the 100, which is going to move it down to a third of a 1% to 1%. And then we're going to be even in a more morass. And there's going to be technologies to block us. They're going to block our emails, block our social contact, wipe out our social profile, block our domains. All of this stuff is going to happen if we keep this approach. And we got to talk about the problem. So first, number one is, who do they listen to? Who, what, where, and when do they listen? When are they open-minded? Because they all say like, oh, some said trade shows. I'm not a big fan of trade shows, because I've stood so many hours of my life in a booth that I'll never get back, and I've gotten a lot of partnerships out of trade shows, and I've met people that I already knew that were at trade shows, but I can't really think of a deal that I got at a trade show. Maybe yours is different. I'm not trying to, put that aside that it doesn't work at all. One person says it works for them. Great. But I don't think, you're going to make your number off of a trade show passerby. Number two is surround them. Don't think direct, think around. Put them in the bullseye. Who do they work for? Who do they report to? Who do they work with? And who works for them? Connect with those people, help those people, get around them. And you can say, well, I don't have time for that. Well, okay, how many accounts do you really have to close to blow your number away? In the B2B space, a good strategic account, probably 10 to 20. Okay, that's 2 a month. And once you figure out your formula, it's not hard to do that. It's just you need to have discipline and focus. And when you hit the ground in Q1 of 2018, you've got to have, what are those 20 accounts that I'm going to make a big investment in, and not have one person at the account. Oh, God. Number 3 is talk to the problem. Talk all about the problem. Everybody who's interested in the problem that you solve, get to know them, amplify their content so that that problem is magnified. So those 3 critical things are really going to help you blow it away into 2018. Now, as far as the rest of this year, basically, if it's not going to close in 2017, put it on the back burner. Okay, put it onto Friday afternoon. Make sure you're getting every deal you can. And my formula for closing deals was always this. The next deal to close goes to the top of my list. The next one below that is the next one to close. You eliminate the tiny little deals that are just pesky deals. Give them to somebody else if they're going to close by themselves. But, I'm talking about the real deals, the meaty deals. Now, if it's not going to close in 2017, I put it to the bottom list, get to it on Friday afternoon, on the weekend, follow up on it. But do not let these moments, these precious, beautiful moments between now and the end of the year, go to waste. I hope this has been helpful. Tell me what's working for you. Tell me about the problems that you're facing. I came up with this course because I see nobody doing this. This is not like this is a rehash of somebody's book, because I've read the books. And they did work at one time. It's not that they're wrong. It's that they're no longer current. That literally, if a book comes out, and everyone plays these same books, and everybody references them, and everybody amplifies them, and they did work. It's not that they're wrong. It's not that they're not smart people. The problem is the game has changed, and it's changing fast. And it's going to be the few people who are playing where the puck is going, not where the puck is. Where the puck is, it's not going to be there by the time you get there. You have to skate. You have to go to where it is. And I'm going to help you get there. So I hope you like this. Please rate, subscribe, and review the podcast. Connect up with me on LinkedIn. If you see my content, please like it, comment, and share it. And please tell one person about the podcast, one salesperson, that you're getting something from this, that I'm trying to help you make the money. That's my mission. Make some money for all of us. Let's get on to it.
I want to know the truth. Because deep down in places that you don't talk about at team and management meetings, you want me on that call. You need me on that call. We use words like fleet view, volume control, total cost of ownership. We use these words as a backbone of a life spent negotiating something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor inclination to explain myself to people who rise and sleep under the very blanket of revenue that I provide and then question the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, may I suggest you pick up a phone and make some sales calls. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you're entitled to.
Did you expense the lap dances?
I did the job I was hired.
Did you expense the lap dances?
You're goddamn right I did!